I'm welcoming Jeremy today. My name is Renee McKenna. I'm a therapist and shamanic healer, and I practice the cutting edge of a lot of different modalities have come to call spiritual psychology. And so Jeremy has very generously offered to do a piece of work and allow me to share it with other people. And we have a mutual friend. And so I want to talk a little bit about what's possible, and then we can talk about maybe what you want to do. So I have a book, Allies and Demons, Working with Spirit for Power and Healing, and it kind of goes through the basic 10 or 12 processes of this work. There's actually a really wide range of things that can be done, but the couple pieces of basic work that I like to offer people are we were talking about nature earlier, so to make a conscious connection with nature as a source or a resource for higher power or guidance or empowerment. I already have a sense, I think you do too, of maybe what the elements that you're really connected with might be. We're all connected with all the elements. So one is to connect with an element. The element itself can really provide healing and guidance and some wisdom for us, both in the session, and then it's a deeper way of knowing based on a really traditional practice of animism, which is the idea that there is life force or consciousness in all things, right? So, and this is a non-rational, more body-centered or intuitive way of actually making that connection in a visceral or experiential connection. So that's a foundational piece of work that's really quite powerful. And another piece of work kind of layered on top of that is based on shamanism, which is to connect with a spirit guide in animal form. Also, another very empowering way to connect with source, to make reconnections with ourselves, to kind of plug into the larger system and a different way of accessing wisdom and guidance and, again, connection. We could also look at connecting with aspects of your own highest self, and that can come in a lot of different forms. One of the ways that a lot of people find very helpful is what I call the golden shadow, which can take two directions. The golden shadow is the aspect of our own authentic self that may not have manifested itself in the world yet. And that can take the form either of our own authentic self as a child before they were kind of squished by the overculture, usually connected with our kind of most authentic gifts and talents and a lot of life energy. The other aspect of golden shadow work is what I call our 100-year-old self, which is the aspect of ourself. In this work, it's kind of understood that on some meta level, all time is present time, and that we can actually connect with all aspects of ourself. Rationally, it doesn't make any sense, but transpersonally, it's experientially quite available. To connect with the aspect of ourself that has lived our optimal path, and that they become a guide for us in present time of how to live that optimal path that exists within ourselves. I think there's the pathway. I don't believe in predetermination necessarily, but if you're a tree or a fern, you're not going to be a rose or a rock, right? So like we have our kind of essential nature of who we are. Like I'm never going to become an accountant or a car mechanic. Like I have my natural way, or a 6-foot man, right? Like I have my natural way I am. Now there's a range of what that is, but really expressing our most authentic self in the world is kind of the path to fulfillment and joy that most people seek. So those are on the more empowerment connection end. I could continue to list work, but those are kind of the basic ones. On the more healing end of things is to connect with an aspect of yourself that's traumatized or wounded or underdeveloped, that wants help or healing. In Western psychology, that's often called inner child work. And it's really, really profound and healing. Again, it essentially connects us not with the wounding, but with the authentic part of ourselves that's kind of gotten separated out for safekeeping, usually during some kind of wounding or trauma, and healing unresolved emotional issues. So that's a very, very powerful piece of work. I'm going to list 2 more. I'm going to give you the whole buffet. Actually, it's not the whole buffet, but it's the basic buffet. It's not the Sunday buffet, it's the Thursday buffet. So dissolving the inner critic, or dissolving anxiety or depression is another really powerful piece of work. It's based on an ancient Buddhist practice called Chud, and quite profound and transformative. If there's like, you know, a lot of us have like a voice that tells us terrible things or limits us or is fearful. And it can actually, those are usually like a protective device, and they actually can be dissolved or updated. So, and the last thing that I'll offer, at least on the Thursday buffet, is power retrieval and exchange, which is a really potent process of working with a relationship that might be dysfunctional or even over, or we want to change the dynamic of it. We either feel drained by it or disempowered by it or over responsible for someone. And it really allows us to just hold our life energy and the other person to hold their life energy. And it really provides a healthy kind of natural boundary and separation, and kind of clearing out dysfunction in patterned relationships. So,
Well,
what do you feel like eating today, Jeremy?
well, I definitely want to eat them all. It is a buffet, so I think I'll take a little bit of everything. No, but seriously, would like to do, I suppose, something either the golden shadow or the developing a underdeveloped part of self, or like a traumatized aspect of self. And I'm wondering which one should I go for.
So I will just say that you are welcome to do this more than once. I think there's benefit actually of having some continuity.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested, we'll see how this goes, and you're welcome to come back and do this again. I would start with the golden shadow myself. I think, because so the way that my program and the way that I work with people is, it's much better to connect and empower ourselves first, rather when we're going to go in the dark. It's good to have a lot of equipment and some lights.
Yeah.
So we
Gotta
don't
have resources ready.
right. So I would say let's do the golden shadow work first. And then if you want to do more, we can look at some wounded self part work, because we'll be bringing these extra resources with us. Does that make sense?
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So your audio's good, your lighting's good, you're very handsome. I think we're good to go. Do you mind sitting, or do you want to lie down?
I'm happy sitting, and I can lie down though if that's preferable.
No, you look, it's great. So let's go for it the way it is. And so just allow yourself to get comfortable, and maybe take a couple deep in breaths, just really coming into your body. And you might notice any places of tightness or tension in your body, Jeremy, and just breathing into any places of tightness or tension and release them on your out breath. Each breath bringing you a little deeper into your own inner world. And maybe taking a moment and giving your conscious mind permission to take a well-deserved rest, that you'll be able to be open and curious and observe what's happening but we'll think about it and make sense of it later. And right now we're going to open the more intuitive, body-centered, non-rational ways of knowing. I sometimes call the active imagination. Opening your inner senses of sight and sound, taste, touch, smell, instinct, and intuition, knowing it's safe to do that. As we prepare to take a journey to the transpersonal realms that have only your highest good in mind, to connect the golden shadow aspect of yourself that has lived your optimal life, makes himself available across historic and psychological time as a source and a resource for you. And so I'm wondering, Jeremy, if you can sense or feel or imagine that you're going to visit a very old, dear friend. And we're going to go to visit them in their home. It doesn't have to make any sense, just whatever comes up. I wonder if you can sense or imagine the neighborhood or the ecosystem, the environment that they live in. They might live in the forest, the ocean, in a town. And I wonder if you can describe to me the environment that arises for you. What comes up of where this old dear friend, the golden shadow, lives?
They live in a nice home. It's kind of an unusual looking home. Modern, but kind of ancient aesthetic with cob or like earth used as structure. And a lot of organic shapes, not really hard edges. And it's kind of being engulfed by a forest, but the forest is it's like the entrance to the forest where there's a stream, a river going into the ocean. So it's right on the edge where everything meets. And then there's some mountains in the background.
And what's the quality of the light and the air?
Very fresh. And it's not particularly bright, but it's not dark either. It's just perfect.
And so they are expecting us, actually. They're expecting you. And so perhaps approaching this home, and where would you enter? The door?
The front door.
And they are expecting you. You might want to call in from here, and perhaps they answer from someplace. They may be in back, they may be out in the garden.
Yeah, I let myself in and they're there. And they're happy to see me. And we hug.
And what is their character or personality like?
They look like me. It's older, healthier. Maybe not necessarily healthier, stronger, a little bit more grounded, solid. They look much older, like maybe in their 40s. But they look happy and strong.
And what's the inside of their home like?
It's earth tones. There's stuff hanging on the wall, not much though. It's spacious. and really natural feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm going into the earth.
Mm.
And it's bright neutral tones, I guess like beiges and whites. And there's a lot of skylights everywhere, different types of windows. The light's shining through. You can see the leaves of the trees and the vines shining through as well. And there's a pool in this like crescent shape in the middle of the, well, I guess this side of the building. It's all very organic looking. It looks like kind of like walking into a swamp, but clearly not a swamp. It's a very nice looking pool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all earth around it. Everything is just very, it feels very, I don't know, organic and whole, and like it's meant to be like that.
Mm.
It's like not man made, but maybe shaped and assisted, shepherded.
And I wonder if there's anything they want to do or communicate or teach you right now. What does he offer to you?
And it says stay focused,
Mm.
keep working. You're on the path. You gotta be focused.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down. One thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust. Keep on trusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more simple yet sophisticated than you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't really get it, but you'll know it when you're there.
Mm.
So just go home. Just go home. It's always just going home.
Mm.
And for me, and for us, home is us. It's our body.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make home everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We want to feel home everywhere. And we do feel home everywhere, because as long as we're home here, we're home everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make other people feel at home too.
Mm.
He says, don't be afraid.
Mm. And how is it to hear that?
It's kind of sad.
Mm. And what is sad?
I'm not sure.
Mm.
Maybe it's just something that's there. Maybe there's no reason for it. It's just a part of the experience.
And is there a part of you that has been sad or frightened?
Yeah, I kind of feel sad, I think, all the time.
Mm.
I mean, I'm happy. I have like all the feelings, but I know there's like a sadness there that's always there. And it's kind of the thing that makes me so good at connecting with people.
Mm.
And it feels like it's actually very whole. It's like wholesome sadness. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so empty. And it feels like the polar opposite of, fullness of light, but it's also like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dark abyss, but it's like the same thing as like the infinite light. It's just a different side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very warm.
Mm. And how do you experience that sadness, that wholesome sadness in your body? Where does it live?
Mostly in my chest, and I guess I could feel it in my throat.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I think, primarily in our chest, in our heart.
And if you bring your awareness closer to that sadness in your chest or heart, we're going to just be curious about it. Is it more on the left or the right or the
Usually
front or
more
the
on the
back?
left,
Mm-hmm.
sort of in the left center. And it kind of grows or shrinks. It starts taking over my whole left side. And starts moving to the right. I can like feed into it and make it bigger or smaller.
And I wonder if it had a color or a shape or a density. Would it be a liquid or a solid, a jelly or a gas? Doesn't have to make any sense, just whatever comes out.
And it's black.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a void. But there's like a density to it. It's almost like a liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's warm. But it could also be very cold. But when it feels, I guess, the most intense, when I really go into it, it's very warm. It's like a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainty.
And so I wonder, Jeremy, if you can sense or feel or imagine, and this golden shadow aspect of yourself can help with this if needed. You could move the energy of this black, warm, liquid void out of your body, and it could personify itself in the room with limbs and a head and face. Doesn't have to make any sense. You're going to move that energy out of your body, and it personifies with limbs and a head and face. What size would it be?
I really want to take a shape of one person. Feels like maybe I'm stopping it from doing it. But it feels like it could go to any shape. Mostly my shape, though.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it wants to be everybody. It
So,
feels like splitting apart into more people, too. But then it comes back into one. It's like I have to really focus on making it be somebody.
so we can let it sounds like it has a shape shifting quality to it. And so just allowing it to shift as it will, we don't need to make it anything. And it may settle or it may not settle. And what happens when we just kind of give it space to shift?
No, I was kind of like dancing around the room a little bit, floating around this table that we're sitting at.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes a seat. And it's like a shadow. And it's hunched over. It has its arms and elbows on the table. And it's just looking down at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of breathing heavy, but not really. It's just like the power of the breath is pretty intense. You could feel it in its spine.
And would it be okay if we asked it some questions?
Yeah.
So the first question we want to ask is, what do you want? And if it could communicate maybe in words or telepathy or behavior, what I want is, doesn't have to make any sense.
Doesn't want anything.
How's it feeling?
I kind of sense it just wants to be known.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of looking at me intensely,
Mm-hmm.
piercingly.
Mm.
He kind of seems angry.
Mm. And what is it a he or is it a they?
It's a he. I think it's me. It's just me hiding in the shadows. It's not even hiding anymore. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
But he likes this shape. He just likes being dark.
Mm-hmm.
He likes being formless and kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. And what does he like about being dark and formless and scary?
Keeps him safe. Makes him real.
Mm.
Because that's what he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm. What does he really need? What's his deepest, most vulnerable need?
I think it's just to be expressed.
Mm.
Kind of feels like he's got a lot of stuff actually in there. He seems to be very angry, and it's in his heart, and he just wants to scream,
Mm.
and he just wants to like explode.
Mm. And what is his anger?
It's everything.
Mm.
I don't know. They're so confused and so angry. They're just upset at everything.
Mm. What is his purpose with you?
Mm. To make me stronger
And how does he make you stronger?
by showing me the truth.
And how does he show you the truth?
I think he's kind of delusional. He's really stuck in his ways, and he just really wants me to know that there's other ways of looking at things, and they're not nice ways of looking at things. He says that look at it.
Mm. And what does he believe is the truth that he shows you?
There's a lot more to life. And that this part of me is not bad. And that I'm entitled to be angry.
Mm. And what has your relationship with anger been?
I push it down most of the time. I mean, I don't even push it down, I don't really register it often.
Mm.
I guess I do. I register annoyance. I usually get sad before I get angry. And then when people like really just keep on pushing me, then I actually get angry.
Mm.
I
And
don't
what
like
is,
being
good.
angry.
Say the last part again.
I just don't like being angry because I feel like I scare people. I
Mm.
scare myself, and I really feel like I scare other people a lot.
Mhm. And what's scary about anger for you?
It pushes everybody else away.
Mm. And
I
what
just want,
does
I just want them to know that I can be angry. It's not to hurt anybody. It's just say I'm angry.
Mhm. How is it to hear that you can be angry and it doesn't need to push people away?
As I know that, and we share it with people. We tell some people that are really good at not noticing it.
Mm.
And they're starting to get it, but it's still like we can't be our full self yet because they're not ready to see it.
And what would happen if you were your full self?
I would abandon them.
Mm.
I don't think I really would, but like that's the first thing. Is like I just leave them.
Mm.
But I don't want to. That's what I used to do when I was little. I used to go away.
Mm.
I used to leave the house.
Mm.
and I'd eventually come back. But I just need to do that to be safe with myself.
Mhm. And how old was that little boy who used to go away and then come back?
I think I did it a lot, but like 7 to 9. I think I was like 9 when I stopped doing it. I was like, this is like stupid. It's pointless.
Mhm. So if you sense or feel or imagine that 7 or 9-year-old boy, if we found him in a setting, where would he be?
Well, right now he's just hanging out at that table I was at. And he's drawing. He just likes to draw.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the forest now, or not the forest. He's like in some grass. He's just drawing in the grass. Taking him a turn.
How is he feeling?
He's fine. He really likes being alone.
He likes being alone. Mm-hmm.
He's happy alone. Not that he doesn't like other people, but he's very comfortable just drawing and being in his own world.
Mm-hmm. And where is the table that he's drawing at?
When I left the table, now he's just in the grass and I was just lying down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our backyard, my backyard,
Mm-hmm.
that I was growing up in.
Mm-hmm. And so I wonder, Jeremy, if you can sense or feel or imagine your own best adult self and perhaps bringing the golden shadow or even the angry shadow with you and stepping across historic and psychological time into the backyard with this boy. And we're going to make ourselves known to him. And we want to tell him that we have come from present time to connect with him. You know who you are. Oh,
Can I take a quick little pause real quick?
go ahead.
Okay.
A bot break. We never know where we're going in this work. But the psyche always knows the wisdom of what we need to do.
Oh, thank you. Spirits are like you're skipping steps.
So if you sense or feel or imagine that boy in the backyard, we're going to cross historic and psychological time to connect with him. Does he know who you are?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that boy?
We have a good relationship.
Mm.
We communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he likes to have fun. He's really into having fun. Sometimes when I push him to do things that are not fun, he gets kind of likes to run away.
Mm-hmm. And what's good about him?
Nice. At his core, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's really angry, but he's kind of righteous. He's not angry for no reason. And he's very sensitive. He doesn't really like saying that or being called that. But I'm trying to tell him that's actually a superpower.
Hmm?
And that embrace it.
Hmm?
It'll get better if he embraces it.
Well, the way I look at sensitivity is to have access to more senses than just the usual 5 of sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Right? So we have lots of senses, and in people that are known to be sensitive, they have more awareness of those other ways of knowing. Just like some people have heightened hearing or a strong sense of taste or smell. How is it for him to hear that he's just got more senses?
He knows.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit indifferent and kind of annoyed, honestly. He's tough. He's too tough. He doesn't need to be so tough.
And what is his toughness?
He's just like down. He's okay being hurt. Like he doesn't mind getting hurt. He kind of likes getting hurt. He likes showing everybody how strong he is. I think it's just like as a way of overcompensating for his sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
When people say that, he's like, all right, well, I'll show you how sensitive I am.
Is he overcompensating, or does he actually have these polar strengths?
Well, he doesn't need to prove himself like that. He doesn't need to like be tough like that. Like he's still trying to show other people like he doesn't like being called sensitive, and so he does things that he doesn't have to do in order to like not be perceived that way.
Okay.
But it's cool. It actually is really awesome because he actually is really tough. And it's great. It just doesn't have to show off, you know. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody.
No, I mean that's my sense, is that he is actually quite resilient and has a high tolerance for discomfort. Yeah, it doesn't affect him in a crumbling kind of way.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Is he aware of the golden shadow?
He is now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really trying to pay attention to them though. It's kind of like really in his drawing
Mm.
and looking up from his drawing.
And how does the golden shadow feel about this boy?
It's just compassionate.
Mm.
Looking at him with like curiosity and interest.
Mm-hmm.
Love. He thinks he's cool. He wants
And
to play.
what about the darker shadow that holds
They merged into one. The golden one and the dark one, they just became one.
Mm. And how is that?
They said that's like the way it's always been. Just like you see it differently.
Mm. And what is their merged relationship with anger?
Anger is just a part of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they utilize anger however they need to use it.
Mm.
It's just an experience, an expression.
Mm.
Not really that important. It's just something that is, and it's not even that. They say you just have to be yourself.
Mm.
And like, don't worry about these labels and things. Just be yourself and trust your soul because you're good.
Mm. What happens when anger is turned into sadness?
I just feel other people, or I perceive that I'm feeling other people. It makes us like connect with them a lot easier. And it helps them see me more. It doesn't scare them away as much. Sometimes it does.
Mm.
But I can tell it's really they're just scared of themselves.
What does this I'm sorry.
It's a little bit wiser than the anger. The anger is like more like let's get stuff done. And the sadness is more like let's understand.
Mm-hmm. What does this boy need?
He says left alone.
Hmm.
I don't think that's right though. I think he really does want people around him. He really does want people to come to him. He really does want all that stuff. But he still like feels like just being alone is the safest and easiest thing.
And what's safe about being alone?
It's just certainty. It's a really old friend. It's like his first friend. And that's like where he came from.
Hmm.
He just likes being alone. I think it's because he doesn't think about other people. He can just be by himself and feel himself.
And does he connect with nature?
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful if we brought him into present time, but perhaps to the transpersonal, safe, and natural aspects of present time. If you were going to bring him to a place in nature, maybe a place that's beautiful and powerful, that had only his highest good in mind, where would you bring him, Jeremy?
He really likes space. He just like being in space. He like looking at everything from there. You can feel connected to everything. You just feel connected to everything from there. You just know we're a part of everything.
And how does it feel in his body to be in space, connected to everything?
It's a sense of wonder and happiness, but also like familiarity, like safety. Like this is home. He feels really comfortable there. He wishes everybody else could like understand it. He thinks that everybody is playing a different game. They're not really like connecting to themselves or the world or the universe.
Well, so there are many elements to connect with: water, earth, sky, wood, fire. But there's also ether. And I wonder if that is what he connects with: space. The space between things.
He likes all the elements a lot, but he really does feel like he's like that's his home. Like, that's where he's from. He likes to come here to play with all this stuff, but he likes home a lot more.
Well, the ether exists here as well. Between all things is space, is ether, the emptiness of each atom, the pregnant void.
He likes experiencing it inside himself. He's not sure the other stuff is real.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like he likes to play with it. He likes to see it. He likes to like look at it and touch it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when he's in this place that he calls home, it's just like it's a part of everything. And like there's no separation from that and him. And so it's not real. It's not what what we think it is. It just is, but it's not what we think it is.
Mm-hmm. And how is it for that to be validated by you?
I think we're both confused about it still. Like we
Mm-hmm.
get it, we know it, but we don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just have to go and experience it. And we do that inside of ourselves, and we can experience it outside of ourselves too. We walk through the world knowing this. But we're confused by it.
Mm.
We feel like we're being pulled by everything else to be something else.
Mm. And what does he feel pulled to be that he is not?
Depends on who he's interacting with. It just feels like he's being pulled to be. He's being pulled to be. I think he just not like being told what to do. He wants to like do things. He wants to have fun, be here, and like do the things, but he just doesn't like being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't believe that people are telling him the truth. He said if they could just explain it better, it would be okay. But they don't know what they're talking about.
Right. And is there anything the Golden Shadow wants to do or communicate with him about the truth?
He says it's okay. He says you don't know either.
Mm.
He's not saying that to be mean. It's just like you're looking at yourself, and it's okay. You're not supposed to get everything. You don't have to get everything. You're supposed to have fun.
Does he want to understand?
Yeah.
So I want to tell him that that is a very worthy desire, and I think he can grow to understand. Because he is experiencing in a very conscious way the great mystery of being a human in the middle world, and the impermanence of all things. And he has his foot or his finger or his heart in that ether, in the creative space. In Hinduism, they talk about Shiva and Shakti. Shiva as the potentiality and Shakti as the manifestation, and that they dance and play together or make love between the potentiality of consciousness and the manifestation of material form. And that all form is a child of Shiva and Shakti. How is it for him to hear that?
He thinks it's cool. And he really wants to go there.
Mm-hmm.
He says there's another place that he could go that's further, and he wants to go to that place.
Is there a guide or teacher of higher wisdom that can teach him or take him to the places that he hopes to go?
is a yes, but I think there's a lot of them. I think they're all here now, but there's no like, I guess, I don't know if they don't want to show themselves or they can't show themselves. But I feel them behind my back.
So if we could ask them or one of them if they would be willing to take form, that would be very helpful, or some kind of awareness. We're asking higher consciousness to vibrate into consciousness that we can conceptualize. It may come in any form.
Yes, my dad.
Mm. And in what form does he present?
I think he's like in his maybe 30s or 40s.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy and young. He's wearing his painter's clothes. He's normally wore. It just looks like another day of seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel his hand on my head.
Mm-hmm. And how will he help you? Mm.
He says he's just always there.
Mm.
Dude, don't worry. I think it's gonna be okay. So you just have to keep on going. It's like there's no rush to get anywhere. That place that he's trying to go to, he's already there. It doesn't matter. Like you're here for a reason now. And the other places there, you're already there. You're everywhere. You don't need like pretend like you're not, but it's okay because this part of the journey, you're doing that.
Mm.
He's just being sweet.
Mm.
He's just there. You're smiling.
And how is it to have him here?
It's good. It's like really happy, sad. I miss him a lot.
Mm. Is there anything you want to do or communicate with him?
No, I just say I love you.
Mm.
I miss you.
Mm.
I wish he was here.
Mm.
But I know he is still, and that body that he was in was not really him.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really comforting.
And how is it to feel his presence now?
Feels good. Feels light. I'm really happy he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Happy I feel him. I know he's with me like often, but like, I haven't felt this intense in a while. Just says it's okay. It's really okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be okay. You just have to keep on going. And there's a lot more fun to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do it. You just gotta focus your energy.
And can your dad or the golden shadow or this boy help you to focus your energy?
I think I really need the boy's help. I think he's has the most. Oftentimes I feel maybe it's not him, maybe it's some other part of myself, but I'm really not into doing some of the things that we have to do. He doesn't like playing a part of this bigger societal games. But yeah, it's okay. He doesn't have to get it or understand necessarily. I could explain it to him, like why we have to do this and why we need his help.
And what help do you need from him?
Help me figure out what this aspect of self is that keeps on causing us to get so sleepy.
Mm.
It causes us to get all distracted.
And what is the golden shadow or the boy, or you have to think about that sleepiness and distraction?
Right now they're just like kind of like putting their shoulders up and like, I don't know.
Mm.
And I feel like they're kind of playing. Like they have to go search more on myself to figure that out. So maybe it's because you just don't want to. And that's fine. Doesn't mean we won't or shouldn't. Just because we don't want to do something doesn't mean we don't need to do something or that we should do something.
So it's almost time to come back. I'm wondering if there's anything else that wants to be done or communicated with your dad, with the boy, or with the golden shadow to feel complete with this for right now.
My dad said he's good. He's peacing out. He's there. And the other ones say, yeah, we're always here. Like, you know where to find us.
Does the boy want to stay connected with the ether in space, or does he want to come and be with you in your life today?
He says he's always there. And that no matter where he goes, he's there.
Okay.
He's being pulled there, if anything. Like that's where if we bring him that somewhere else, he's gonna be going there anyways. I think maybe that's why he's resistant. He's like, you guys are taking me to the wrong place. I'm supposed to be there.
Okay. I'm gonna.
So he says he's happy to be there for now.
I'm gonna ask him a question. Can I ask the boy a question? It feels like he's a wisdom keeper of the wisdom of this space. What does he think about that?
He's not really sure. He kind of seems to say like, you're not supposed to know.
Who's not supposed to know?
You.
Me? Okay. That's fine.
I think he's just saying that to be mischievous.
So it's more for him to know what his gifts and talents are and who he is, so that he can serve the greater whole of you and the greater whole of the universe that he's a part of. And being a trickster may be part of that. But if he's going to be a trickster, he needs to know that he's a trickster. and what he's tricking for.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has some awareness around that. Like he knows what he's playing these games with people.
Right.
And that's something we do need to work on. Like, we just need to be more. Like if he likes to get the instructions from people and know everything about everything, then he should also be able to do that for others. If he wants to get that, he has to give it.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So this is about being willing to grow and evolve. Because he's tapped into some pretty big things. And they should be tapped into. That is his natural state. But growing in the skills and abilities to have wisdom is way beyond just knowledge or even experience, right? And that's where you are growing, Jeremy, is in the wisdom to use all of these different resources to be more empowered and more grounded and more of all of who you are. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So bringing all of this back with you into the room, the connection with the ether and this boy, your own trickster self, connection with your dad, and the teaching that all time is present time, and love and connection transcends our ordinary ways of knowing. Integration of the golden shadow and the darker shadow, that it is okay to express your feelings and be all of who you are. And it doesn't need to push people away. And continued curiosity and playfulness in exploring being a spiritual being in human form. So bringing all of this back with you into your body, your mind, your emotions, and your system. And as you come fully back, maybe taking a moment and see if you can sense or feel or imagine the energy of that boy, the golden shadow, or even your dad, and the ether or space in the room right now. And you might notice where they are in relation to you, beside you, behind you.
Oh, we're all just hugging it out. It's a really nice hug.
Mm-hmm. And how do you experience the ether?
Oh, it's like a warm bath.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It's like it just feels really good. Really, really good. Weightless. Feels like I'm becoming the water.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like me. Feels like really me.
Mm-hmm. I have an image of a beautiful weaving. Of all the different threads of being into this colorful fabric.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
How do you feel?
Feel really good. That my left shoulder was kind of like hurting before we started. It's feeling really tight now. It feels a lot looser, which is nice. It's cool. A really nice feel like connected with my dad. I really felt like his hand was on my head. That
Yeah,
was a
that
really
was
good
really
feeling.
beautiful. That was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good.
So I guess the only thing that I would repeat is that the curiosity to know
Hmm.
is totally valid, and that thirst for that particular way of knowing can absolutely be quenched. Yeah, because there is a deep search for wisdom, a deeper, not intellectual knowledge, but this experiential knowledge of what, as one of my friends says, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Right? And that's a very, I guess I would just say, high level aspiration, but the range of all the ingredients in some ways are there. Yeah. I think our desires are part of the evolutionary push within each of us to participate, whatever our particular curiosity or draw or passions or interests are. And it's not a design flaw. And I don't believe that the universe is unfair. I think that we have those because they pull us toward our own fulfillment.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And the only other thing I want to say is that I think the belief that we have to play the games of ordinary reality isn't as true as we think. So we can make more of our own rules than we might believe. So if any of them feel particularly constricting, I would pay attention to that. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I totally 100% on board with that.
Yeah, because I think we get told what's possible, and there's this boy who's like, screw you people, I'm out and I'm gonna go hang out between the stars. And there's that capability, and then there's like, I got to work a 9 to 5, and there's a big range in between those things. Do you know what I mean? So how to I think that's some of the work is like how to come more into a middle place. Does that?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that right like before we came on the call. It's like I feel like I exist between like chaos and nothingness, and I'm somewhere in between that. Like if people ask me like what I am or like what do I do, I'm like I exist somewhere in between there.
So it's very interesting. The triangle is like the strongest geometric shape, right? And triads are in throughout almost all great teachings. And so the idea, when you're talking about nothingness, the nothingness that this boy is talking about is not actually nothingness. It's we experience as that, but it really feels to me again like the pregnant void. Again, in Hindu, we don't really have a thing for it.
Yeah,
I suppose it
it's
would be
like
the
everything.
yeah, I suppose it would be the Holy Ghost in Christianity, but in Hinduism, it's Shiva, which is the potentiality. It's like the Big
Hmm.
Bang before the thing exploded. It's the little, it's all things. So there's this, but we experience it as nothingness with our perception. We're limited, right? So there's this pure potentiality, and there's chaos, which has a lot of energy, and the other piece of that triangle is structure. And working with the three of those, I don't know what your relationship with structure is. And it's a big word, has a lot of things, but there's a way to work with structure that actually allows potentiality and chaos to come together into form. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
Like
totally.
all
I'm
three
trying
of
to
them,
work on that.
all three of them have to work together. And usually we have places we're strong and places we have deficits. So my guess would be, because you didn't mention it, that structure might be a challenge for you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what I was, I guess, working on with that. The attempt and to create routine and more structure and organization is something that I do struggle with, although sometimes it's incredibly easy. But when I find that I get sleepy, it's like really interesting. Like, okay, I know I need to do this thing, but why am I getting sleepy now?
Well, if you want to do another piece of work, we could look into the sleepiness, because sleepiness and distraction are generally defensive structures that we've developed, where like either we don't know how to deal with something, or it's too hard, or it's a way we've protected ourselves from whatever that is in a kind of a comfortable way.
Right.
But it's a growing edge, and because there's a lot of brilliance in you, and non-traditional ways of organizing things, it sounds like, right? And so, which is really creative, which is what that potentiality and the chaos is, and like how to organize that, because we're here in form, and we're here to kind of make stuff or do stuff like that. That's what we get to have a body.
Right.
It may not be physical stuff we make, I don't make physical stuff, right? But I help organize things now. So anyway, there's a little triangle for you.
I appreciate that triangle. It makes me feel a lot more sturdy now.
Jeremy, thank you so much.
Renee, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. I've really felt very open-hearted and seen and held. And I really appreciate your amazing touch and your way of organizing and structuring communication.
Beautiful. Well, feel free to reach out and we can do it again.
I'd love that. Yeah, definitely. We'll do that.
All right, dear. Blessings on your path.
Blessings to you too.